creepy facts about your body you're gonna wish you didn't know. When you go down a drop on a roller coaster and you suddenly feel your stomach drop, it's not just you feeling nervous. What you're feeling are your organs actually moving. Have you ever noticed that an older person in your life seems to have very long, large ears? That's because your ears will never stop growing. Across your lifetime, you will spend an average of an entire year just sitting on a toilet. When we see brains outside of the human body, they usually look pretty solid, but your brain, while inside your skull while you're alive, is actually very soft. It's like melted butter soft.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 37. In 1973, there was a computer program that stated that in 2040, the end of civilization will come. But not only that, this computer program has made many other various accurate predictions that have already happened. There are only 2 days in your life that don't last 24 hours. The day you were born and the day you die. If you ever find yourself having to kill a spider, I'd be careful because that spider could potentially be pregnant. And if you kill it, well, its babies that are inside of it will just go every which direction and all over your house. This is what our nervous system looks like without a skull. In fact, it just looks like a little creature that lives inside of our huge body that controls everything. There was once a psychic who wanted to prove that he was immortal, so he stabbed himself multiple times and ended up dying. So I guess you could say he wasn't immortal.
The most terrifying urban legends from every US state. This map right here of course shows all the urban legends in America. And in this series we're going to be going from the least scary urban legends to the scariest of the scariest. And you never know, it could be from your state. Now welcome back to part 2 guys, where stuff is about to get a whole lot crazier. So today we're heading over to Arizona to the Slaughterhouse Canyon. What I mean by the name, it does not sound great, does it? So back in the 1800s, a family lived in this house. And basically this place was literally in the middle of the canyon, so completely middle of nowhere. Nothing around nothing, so I mean, why would you want to live there? Now the father of the family used to go out for days on end trying to find food for them. And I think you can guess where the story starts. One time he went out to get food and he never returned. So the family was stuck with no food, starving for a very long time. Until it takes an even more disturbing turn. Legend has it that the mother couldn't cope, so decided to take her own life. Then the children were left suffering for an extremely long time, but no one really knows exactly what happened to them. Now legend has it if you go to this place now, you can still hear the screams and the cries of the mother and the children. If you shout loud enough, the echo will circle the whole way around and actually find its way back to you. This place is believed to be extremely haunted and sounds pretty terrifying. Now this series is only going to get crazier, so make sure you hit that follow button so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.
Here are some facts that you probably didn't know that one day could save your life. Part 18. If you're saving someone from drowning and they're thrashing their arms in panic, punch them in the chest to snap them back into reality, otherwise you'll go down with them. If you don't have enough money for food, hot tea is a solid cheap meal. You can use as much cream and sugar as you want, which will give you a lot of calories and keep your body warm. If you see money falling from the sky, do not try to grab it, run. This is a common method that terrorists use to lure people into a single area and attack them. Before you dig around your house, make sure you call the number 811. A guy will come out for free and mark any gas lines in the area, which will save you from blowing yourself up. If you're walking down the street at night and you think someone's following you, take 4 right turns. And if by the 4th turn they're still behind you, call the
most evil thing that children have ever done. Part 1. In this video, we're going to be talking about Eric Smith. Eric Smith was 13 years old at the time that he committed these horrendous crimes, and the year was 1993. He was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder. This means that at any given time he was subject to violent outbursts towards other people. This, coupled with the fact that he would frequently get made fun of for his red hair, freckles, and glasses, only compounded and made the situation much worse. And at the age of 13, he lured a young boy of only 4 years old into the woods named Derek Robbie. There, he took his life and performed some unspeakable acts that I cannot even say in this video or it'll get taken down. A few days later, he confessed what he had done to his mother, who promptly turned him into the police. He was then tried as an adult and sentenced to 9 years to life. During his time there, he was denied parole 8 times, but as of 2022, he is now walking free. This is more or less what he looks like now. Follow for part 2.
Whatever you see first says a lot about the type of person you are. Take a look at this photo right here. Now if you see the car first, it could suggest that you're a very independent person and like going off. You like going on adventures, you could go out on road trips a lot, all of that kind of stuff. If you first saw the man with the binoculars, it could mean you're a very analytic person. You can be sensitive, but you like to dig deeper into the big picture of things. Now take a look at this photo. If you see the skull straight away, it could mean you're a very realist person. You like to live in the moment, don't get stressed out over little things. If If you see the woman looking into the mirror first, this could suggest that you are the opposite. You do tend to get worried about the small things and stress out over things. Finally, look at this photo. If you saw a baby first, it could mean you're very independent and like your own company. If you saw the couple first, it could suggest you spend a lot more time with your friends and care about them more than anything. Friends and family are the most important thing to you and you'll do anything for them. And if you saw the trees first, you're always ready to experience something new and go on an adventure.
Scary facts that will ruin your day. Do you ever wake up around 3 a.m. for no apparent reason? They say that if you wake up around 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. for no reason, that there's a 90% chance something was staring at you. Press the plus for more of the macabre.
Here are some scary facts that you probably didn't know. Until now. First up, no one is more prepared for the world to end than CNN. Yes, the news station. It has been reported that CNN has a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s that they will premiere at the end of the world. Like, what do they know that we don't that they're already prepared for it? Next up, the body cannot tell the difference between either of your eyes. So because of this, it's possible that if one of your eyes gets damaged, your immune system will attack the healthy eye, thus taking away your eyesight. To be honest, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. And lastly, we have the bite of the blue ring octopus. Now, a bite from one of these bad boys is pretty lethal. It's said that their venom can kill more than 20 humans in just a few minutes. Although that's scary in itself, it's very unlikely to happen. But if you are bit by one of these guys and are being administered CPR, it is highly likely that you will feel and know the CPR is happening, but you won't be able to move or respond. Holy.
Curse games you should never play. Part 26. Dead Man's Tag. To start, get a group of people together in an outdoor playing field. This can be whatever you choose, but make sure it's at nighttime. Then together establish a home base. This has to be something physical like a rock or a building. Once nighttime does fall, you can scream the words, "We invite you to play a game of tag." Then, all in unison, scream the words, "You're it." Once this happens, you'll have to run and find a hiding spot. But make sure you're not hiding with another participant. Your only goal from this point out is to try to get back to home base. But you don't know what's trying to find you or what may happen once you get found. Once you do get back to home base, scream the words "safe" and wait for all the other participants to get back. Once everyone does get back, scream the words "We win, the game is over." But whatever was trying to find you might try to get you to start another game whether you want to or not. If at any point someone does get caught, you're told to avoid them at all costs. But you can try to strike a bargain to get them back from wherever this thing took them.
Scariest conspiracy theories that will seriously change your life. So in this series, of course, we're going through the different theories, from the least scary to the most disturbing of the disturbing. Now, as I've said before, if you're easily scared, just keep on scrolling, but let's kick off part 3. This is where stuff gets properly weird. So today is the theory of, are we all dead? You, me, your parents, we're all dead. Yeah, what? That makes no sense. Stick with me. Right, so it's actually proven that when we die, our brains still have around 7 or 8 minutes left of activity. And then, of course, there's the other theory, which is your life flashes before your eyes when you die. So you pretty much see your entire life after you've died. Now, stick with me. If you combine these two, we get a very messed up picture, but a very believable one in a way. So we know that there is a 7 or 8 minutes, and when you're in this, there is no concept of time. So that 7 or 8 minutes could feel like years and years and years. But you wouldn't know it because, well, you're dead. So what if your life does flash before your eyes in those 7 or 8 minutes? And we are all actually dead in those 7 or 8 minutes right now laying in a hospital bed somewhere. And we are literally just re-watching our entire lives. And it feels like years and years, like it's really real, but it's actually just in those 7 or 8 minutes, but we have no concept of time, so we don't realise it. Really messed up, isn't it? But it is possible. So what if maybe the world ended years ago, or 7 or 8 minutes ago, and we are all actually dead somewhere just re-watching our entire lives? Messed up, isn't it? Messed up. Now make sure to hit that follow button. See.
Scary facts that will blow your mind, part 3. It's been speculated by scientists that the light at the end of the tunnel when you're dying is actually you in the hospital being reborn into a new body. You're only given moments to sift through your memories and leave everything else behind. This, of course, is just a theory, but what if? Let me know what you think. Like and follow for more.
Photos with disturbing backstories. Firstly, this photo looks normal enough, but in the background there's a monster lurking. The man in the background is Christopher Wilder, a serial killer. What's disturbing about this photo, other than the fact that he's in it, is that he would end up taking the girl in the foreground and she would become one of his victims as well. For our second photo, we have a seemingly happy family portrait. The subject in question in this photo, though, is this man right here, as well as this baby. The man is John Edward Robinson, who's also a serial killer. And in this photo, he ended up taking the life of the baby's mother. His brother ended up receiving the baby from John, who told him that it was an adopted baby. The baby did not find out about this information until 15 years later. Imagine how traumatic that would be. The number of victims that John had is currently unknown, and he's been on death row since 2000. Follow for the next part.
This is why you never mess with a mother. So the most dangerous thing to a baby bear is a bigger adult male bear, especially since males will go out of their way to unalive cubs and even eat them. Especially during mating season when bears will try to get rid of the kid so they can shoot the shot at the mother. And pre-hibernation when bears try to get as many calories as they can. So what might be a cute face to you is just extra protein to him. So this male found a mother and her cubs, and the mother instantly started fighting the much larger male for her baby's life. Until both bears slipped and fell all the way down a cliff. The mother bear was obviously seriously injured but eventually made her way back to the two cubs. The male that attacked her didn't walk away so lucky. In fact, he didn't walk away at all. Officials confirmed that the mother is still alive and even placed food and water at different points of the cave that she was in to help her out. Keep in mind that the bear that attacked her was nearly 500 pounds while the mother herself was probably less than 300. Moral of the story? For every cute face, there's a mother behind it ready to die for it and take you with her.
The government is hiding something very, very big about our oceans. This is absolutely crazy and will seriously blow your mind and make you question everything. So if you're easily scared, keep on scrolling right now, trust me. Still here? Let's get into the video. Right, so in the last few weeks, a lot of very strange things have been happening off the coast of Florida. Now we're going to talk about the main really weird one. So only a few days ago, they'd exploded a gigantic bomb in the ocean. Now normally when they test bombs like this in the sea, it gets planned for ages before, but this wasn't planned at all. Like it was suddenly last minute, the next day they're exploding it in the bloody sea. Now bear in mind, this bomb would have cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it would have killed lots and lots of sea life. And this is where it gets crazy. The theory is that maybe this wasn't meant for just testing. Maybe it was meant to destroy the sea life. Like some kind of creature or something they found under there that needed to be destroyed. Who knows? Now it's about to get even crazier. Now we know that the ocean is of course linked to the Gulf of Mexico. So maybe something crazy, unexplainable, whatever came from the Gulf of Mexico, and they were trying to destroy it. Now take a look at this. This is what's been going on in the Gulf of Mexico recently. Huge fire in the middle of the ocean. Like a full-on fire pit in the middle of the bloody ocean. How the hell did that happen? Now they're saying it was from a small gas leak, but that does not look like a small gas leak to me. What is going on?
This man was attacked by a shark, but instead of killing him, it ended up actually saving his life, and you won't believe how. This is Eugene, and in 2015, he took his girlfriend and 2 kids to California for a family vacation. As he and his daughter swam off the shores of Huntington Beach, he could sense something wasn't right. Instantly, he felt a sharp pain in his back, and he was pulled down to the bottom of the ocean. A great white shark had attacked him and wasn't letting him go. But somehow, Eugene barely managed to escape to the surface. He barely made it to shore and was bleeding everywhere. Had a massive gash on his back, but eventually it stopped bleeding. And Eugene didn't want to ruin the family vacation, so he decided to not go to the hospital and wait to get it checked out at home. He finally decided to go to the hospital when he got back home a week later. But when the doctors scanned Eugene's x-ray, they could not believe their eyes. The doctors found a cancerous tumor in his chest. Thankfully, they were able to remove it in time and save his life, all because he was attacked by a...
Christopher Dutch is a former neurosurgeon who over the course of 2 years injured, maimed, and crippled 33 of his 38 patients, earning him the nickname Dr. Death. After a severe football injury, Christopher switched over to medicine, earning his doctorate in 2010 from the University of Tennessee. He completed his training after participating in just 100 surgeries, while the average surgeon does over 1,000. Over the next 2 years, the doctor worked at various hospitals, repeatedly botching surgeries, even killing patients along the way. One of these patients, Kelly Martin, was undergoing routine back surgery when the medical staff noticed she was losing an excessive amount of blood. Dr. Death simply ignored this until she woke up screaming, clawing at her legs until she bled to death. This led to his medical license being suspended in 2013 and him being sentenced to life in prison for his crimes.
This little bird is one of the psychopaths of nature. 2 types of people watching this right now. Those that don't know what I'm talking about, and those that know why this psycho Tweety's nickname is the butcher bird. The shrike is a predator that hunts insects like grasshoppers, rodents like small mice, and even lizards. First, they factory reset their prey by violently shaking them until they break their spine. But the butcher bird gets its name because it'll store the soul-divorced body by impaling it on spikes and thorns. This bird will store several skewered corpses in its little pantry, tearing off pieces at a time while saving the rest for later. Some shrikes will even murk grasshoppers that are toxic to eat, store it in a little pantry in the sun for a couple of days, and then eat it once the exposure makes it slightly less toxic. I don't even want to know how they figured that out. Baby butcher birds will hone their homicidal tendencies by stabbing leaves on sharp tree branches. Also, they figured out how to flatline animals bigger than they are. The shrike will actually use its beak to pinch the spinal cord to cause paralysis, and then they'll thrash it around until the neck divides into two. Who's teaching them this? And if you try to tell me this bird's cute, I can show you a graveyard full of people that said the same about Ted Bundy.
Cursed games you should never play. Part 24. Blue Baby, Baby Blue. Begin at night. Go into a bathroom and turn off all the lights. Then lock the door behind you and face the mirror. As you're looking into the mirror, position your arms as though you're cradling a baby. While doing this, chant the phrase Blue Baby, Baby Blue 13 times. As you do this, you'll feel the weight in your arms begin to grow. And at some point, you'll start to feel scratching on your arms. Once you feel the scratching, immediately drop the baby in the toilet, flush it, unlock the door, and leave. If you're alive, you won. But there are two possible losing conditions. The lesser of two being the scratching in your arms becoming unbearable, or the second one being a woman appearing in the mirror. She will demand her baby back and probably kill you.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark. A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 8.
As I grew up, I had access to an 80,000 volume library, and I read from that library extensively about religion, all the religions of the world, and I was really an atheist at that point when we moved to the farm. But things began to happen in the house.
My wife, she saw an ad in the newspaper and decided she would go and look at it. And while I was away, I guess I was away for about 3 days, and during that period she looked at it, liked it, and put a deposit down on the house. The idea of living on 200 acres in a beautiful home like that that's enough to fire you up. It was beautiful.
The day we moved into the house was very chaotic. We were trying to move out the previous owner while we were trying to move in a family of 7. Dining room, and there was this man standing there. And as children do, I was just like, okay, you know, it's somebody, and I ran off to play.
The house was straight out of the 30s or 40s. It had linoleum on the floor. There was no modern conveniences. The house, my muscles of my legs started to hurt, and that was the beginning of the pain.
It drained my mother's energy so severely that she would sleep in bed for like 2 years. She could hardly get out of bed. Because it caused her so much depression, too. Fear for her children, fear for herself.
Terrible fear for us.
I met one of the neighbors, and she said to me, you know, when the Kenyans lived here, they left the lights burning in the house all the time, all day long, all night long. And I thought that was kind of strange. But that was clarified for us by Mr. Kenyon. He said, for the sake of the children, you should leave lights on at night.
When you walk in a house that evil, you know that that house really had very, 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 very bad vibes.
In her day, she was the house of the county, you know, the one that you drive by and they're like, that was the first house. And that's what she was. And when the witch
we started to absorb the karma of the house almost as through osmosis. We would hear the mournful
that middle bedroom window, and it was though she had the window open and was hollering out the windows, "Mommy, Mommy," just wailing.
Lorraine came. She was very sweet. She was very gentle with the children, but she started to issue warnings to me.
I knew the house was haunted. All I had to do was walk in it. We just had to find the source.
My mother did an inordinate amount of historical research on the house. And the reason that she did was not only was she fascinated with the fact that we were living in a 1736 house, but she also knew by the time that we started to see multiple spirits in the house, she wanted to know who it was. And that's when we learned about Bathsheba Sherman.
We wanted to get deeper into this case, yes. We definitely we went up there so many times to try to find the help, to really try to find it for them. But it was very sad.
I told her the last of it is, next time we meet, ye too be dead.
The spirit that was most threatening.
Logic tells you that something that is immaterial, that is a shadow, there's a... I don't know that I'll even be willing to see the film. In fact, I doubt very much that I will be willing to see the film for the same reason I'm unwilling to ever go back to the house, especially to ever go inside the house again. I never would.
Cursed games you should never play. Part 25, The Apex. If you win this challenge, you will receive a great prize by the end of it. But the alternative is death, so Begin by entering a forest with multiple partners. Form a circle by holding your hands and say the phrase, "We are allies. We wish to game a worthy opponent. Will no challenger face us?" When you hear a crash coming from elsewhere in the forest, run. Your group is now the herd. Stick together with them for 24 hours, day and night. You will be hunted for these 24 hours and you cannot get separated, harm another partner, or beg for mercy. When the 24 hours are up, leave the forest. You'll be approached by a park ranger for your prize. This park ranger will ask you the question, "Are you worthy?" Answering yes or no is not recommended. Instead, ask the question, "Am I?" And the park ranger will hand you a box. Inside this box, you'll get one of two prizes. Your first prize is an object of value, either monetary or personal, that you yourself or your partners have previously lost. The second is simply a sheet of paper, with a message written on it that you have to decide what to do with.
This woman was literally, how do I put this, a Nazi killing machine. During World War II, a woman by the name of Rosa Shanina had just begun her work as a Soviet sniper, but little did she know that she would go down in history as one of the most remarkable women in war's time. And it all began because of a bomb attack that killed her brother in December of 1941, and after that day, she swore that she would avenge his death and kill anybody who had anything to do with that bomb. Now, for a long time, the thought of women joining the army was almost non-existent, let alone letting them get a high rank. But after the circumstances became very dire, this all changed, and Rosa, along with 1,000 other female soldiers, were drafted into the army. So in saying all that, throughout her entire career, she had a total of 59 kills, and a majority of those were Nazis. So, thank you for your service, Rosa.
Craziest crimes of all time. A man by the name of Sean broke 7 different laws in an effort to be sexy. He did this by breaking into a woman's home, stealing her lingerie, and walking the streets of Sacramento wearing it. A man by the name of Rutledge Dees IV was recently arrested after pretending to have a disability so that nurses would change his dirty diapers. Apparently this was his kink, so he received therapy instead of prison. A woman was upset at her boyfriend Christopher because he let out a horrific fart. Christopher, who was slightly offended, proceeded to headbutt and choke her before she could escape and call police. A woman posing as a psychic promised her clients that she could put a special blessing on their money and double it overnight. Spoiler alert, the next day she ran off with over $100,000. A woman from Michigan has been described as feral after biting off another woman's ear. Why, you may ask? Well, she believed that she was a werewolf and the other woman was a vampire.
The most evil things that children have ever done. Part 2. In part 2, we're going to be talking about Alyssa Bustamante. Alyssa was 15 years old when she committed this horrendous crime. Alyssa had said that she wanted to take somebody else's life just for the sheer thrill of it. And at the age of 15, she decided that she was finally going to act out this fantasy. So she took her 9-year-old neighbor in the woods behind her house and committed the act. She had also taken the foresight to dig a very shallow grave before committing her act, and this is where she put the remains. I can't go into too much detail though, so if you do want the details, you'll have to look up the case yourself. After the act, she documented in her diary that the whole entire experience was pretty enjoyable. She was sentenced to life in prison and has to go 35 years without the possibility of parole. Follow for part 3.
Scary facts that will make your skin crawl. PT 5. After 10 minutes of watching yourself in a mirror in a dimly lit room, your brain gets bored and distorts your reflection, causing imaginary monsters. Spirits are most active at night and mostly exist in cold, air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you all night. They read your mind and try to speak and show your future in dreams. Dreaming about being lost usually occurs when you are having a conflict and deciding how to react in a situation in real life. It may also indicate that you are scared of your actions committed in past.
Scary facts you wish you never knew.
Sleeping with a TV in a room creates portals for demons to watch you sleep. Spirits usually sit on empty chairs in your room whilst you sleep. Spirits have the power to affect your emotions. If you feel a temperature change, most likely a spirit is there. 30% of people witness things in their hallway pitch black. Known as the Troxler effect, your brain alters your face when you stare into a mirror for a period of time. It has been found by psychologists that people experience optical illusions, witnessing deformation of their faces after staring at oneself for 10 minutes in the mirror. In this study, 48% of people reported that their faces had changed to monsters